the 10 steps that coffee producers follow at the farm in order to grow coffee trees. And what are the things that they keep in mind so that they ensure that the coffee plantations are healthy and very productive. My name is Jolima and I am a coffee producer and importer from Colombia, and my family has been growing coffee for many years, over 5 generations, and this information that I'm going to provide today is based on what we do at the farm level. I personally got this information from my father and the experience that he has as a coffee producer, and this is the method that we apply at our coffee farms to ensure that we have really healthy, happy coffee trees. The first thing that we need to keep in mind when starting a coffee plantation or planting a new coffee lot is the seeds. So when we're going to plant a new coffee plantation, or if we're going to upgrade or renovate a coffee lot with a certain amount of coffee trees, we need to get the seeds that we're going to plant. If we want to plant a varietal that we already have in another section of our farm, we can get the seeds from a coffee tree that we already have, ideally a young coffee tree that has very healthy coffee cherries. However, if we want to plant a different varietal that we might not have, we can purchase the seeds from another coffee producer or a neighbor that has the varietal that we want to produce. The third option that we have in Colombia is to purchase certified seeds from the National Federation of Coffee Growers. This is a really good option for us because we know what we're getting and we are guaranteed that those seeds are healthy and have been tested and don't have any type of disease. The second thing that we need to do is to build a seed sprouted bed. So we do this with the materials that we have around the farm. It is not something very advanced, it is very simple but very effective for us in our farm. What my father does is to build a box using wood that can be found around the farm, and then the bottom of the box will be filled up with rocks, and after the rocks there will be another thick layer about this size thick, I don't know if you can see, with sand, but it will be a thick sand. I believe it is called in English vermiculite. It is like a rocky sand that is really coarse, and when you pour water over it, the water will go right through, so it won't puddle up. You won't get puddles of water, which is really effective when we want to grow coffee seeds. Once we have the box and the bed of sand, we disinfect the sand by pouring boiling water all over the sand in order to kill any bacteria that might be there, and then once the sand is cold, we spread the seeds without placing them carefully. We just kind of spread them in and then cover them with more sand. And after this, we put a screen on top to protect the seeds from heavy rain or from animals going inside the box and messing around with the seed. It will take about 2 months before those seeds sprout. And one thing that we need to keep in mind is that we need to be watering the seeds often so that they don't dry out and that they grow healthy. The third thing that we are going to do right before the 2 months is completed is to build the nursery where the seeds will be transplanted to. In order to do this, we fill up individual bags with very healthy soil that has been combined with organic compost in order to give each tree an individual pot where they can grow and develop a little bit more. If we want to plant a lot that is, let's say, 3,000 trees big, we want to fill up about 3,300 bags in order to have 300 additional trees that are the same age than the lot that we want to plant. In case a few months later some of the trees die and we need to replace them, we can replace them with trees that are the same age, so we won't have any differences in age on a same lot. So we fill up the bags with this soil and we put them in a specific place in the farm. It is like a little nursery house that we built for the coffee trees. It will be covered with a screen that will allow rain in as well. And after 2 months, once the seeds have sprouted, they will be about 5 centimeters big, and then we're going to take the best little trees from that box and plant them in individual bags on the nursery that we just built. We want the nursery to have the best possible seeds. We don't count how many seeds we plant, but usually we do 1 kilo or 2 kilos depending on how big the lot that we want to grow is. And the best sprouts, the ones that look the more healthy, we transplant into the nursery. The little trees will be at the nursery for another 4 months before they can be transplanted into the open soil where they will live for the rest of their life. During this time, we're taking care of them, watering them every day or every 2 days, depending on how much water they need. We might also apply some fertilizers to make sure that they grow very healthy. The fourth thing that we are going to do while we have the nursery prepared and the seeds are growing there is to prepare the land where the trees are going to live for the rest of their life. In order to do this, we cut off all the weed and we make sure that the soil is clear, there are no rocks, and ideally we leave that lot or piece of land rest for a few months so that it is not stressed when we plant the new trees. But during this time, another thing that we do is to take samples of soil throughout the whole lot and take them to a specialist, in this case it will be an agronomist, to evaluate the soil and let us know if the soil is weak in any nutrients or if it needs to have any additional nutrients in order to have healthy trees. This ensures a very successful growing process of those coffee trees. The fifth thing we are going to do is to measure the terrain and signal where each tree is going to go, because we need to have a certain distance between trees. We plant 1.4 meters by 1.4 meters of distance. My dad signals the whole terrain where he's gonna make the holes that should be 1.4 meters by 1.4 meters of distance. I hope that makes sense. Now, the other thing that he keeps in mind when measuring the terrain is that we don't want the lines of trees to be vertical, we rather want them to be diagonal, and this is for two main reasons. One, if the trees are planted like this, when we put the fertilizer, if it rains, the rain is more easily going to wash out all of the fertilizer of the tree. And it's just gonna be easy for the water to run down and to take everything with it while it runs down. If we plant the trees in a diagonal way, it will be kind of intercrossed, and this will allow for the trees to support each other. So the trees that are on bottom will support the trees that are on top, avoiding landslides, especially when it rains, because the water won't be going straight down, but rather will be kind of going in between the trees. Also, according to my dad, if you plant the trees straight down, and like if you're picking coffee and you fall, it will be easier for you to just like go rolling down the mountain, because there will be no trees to hold you. So that's another reason. It seems important because it's a steep mountain. If you fall, ideally a tree will catch you, but if you just have a whole channel, like a whole channel down where there are only trees on the side and no trees on the middle, you can just go rolling down the mountain. It can be very dangerous. Anyways, that's not a scientific reason, but it's a good reason. Number 6 will be to make the holes where the coffee is going to be planted. So the agronomists say in Colombia that you don't really need such a big hole. You just need a hole that can hold the roots. But my father prefers to make a bigger hole so that the soil around the root, as much soil as possible around the root, is very loose, and the tree is more healthy and the root has more space to freely spread out as it gets stronger. One thing to notice here is that if you want to plant 3,000 trees, you need to make 3,000 holes, and each hole is made by hand. And this is very intensive work because sometimes the soil is not very loose or soft, so it is a lot of work to do 3,000 holes. So first you need to mark 3,000 places where the holes will go, and then you need to go and manually make 3,000 holes where you will plant the trees. After we make the holes, if the soil exam came out saying that the soil was maybe too acidic, we usually use something called agricultural lime to balance the pH. So agricultural lime is a powder made out of limestone that has been crushed, and this stone contains a lot of natural nutrients that are really good for the soil and that promotes healthy plant growth because it neutralizes the acidity of the soil and it balances out the pH. Number 8 will be to finally transplant the grown trees to the open land where they will live for the rest of their life. And by this time, the coffee plants will be about 20 centimeters high. So each coffee tree is planted on the holes that he has previously built. This is also done with a lot of care because you don't want to damage the root, and you want to have a lot of soil that is loosened and healthy around the root so that the tree can adapt to this new environment much easier. Number 9. After 15 days from planting into the open field, the coffee trees will get fertilized. We can use a lot of organic fertilizer, but we also need to make sure that the nutrients that the agronomist told us that the soil might need are included in that fertilizer, so that the trees have all of the nutrition that they need in order to grow tall and healthy. The number 10 and last thing that we need to keep in mind when growing coffee is that for the next 3 years we have to fertilize and take care of the coffee plants so that we get a really good first harvest. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you for your time and attention. And please leave your comments and suggestions in the comment section below. If you have any questions, please leave them there as well, as I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. And that being all, I will see you in my next video. Adios!